Oh, it has begun. It has begun. It has begun. We're here. We are hoping that this thing works. Hoping. There's a lot of noise. Oh, lo and behold, I think it's actually working. Yeah. All right. We got widescreen today, baby. So that was the hope that this duck would actually get the job done. It is noisy. We got a neighbor over here that's rebuilding, I think, a house or maybe several houses. I don't know. It was a long, beautiful day yesterday. And where it was mentally and emotionally refreshing, it was physically tiring. So, how's it going today, George Perez? Oh, we got 8 people in already. I ain't even woke up yet, y'all. Y'all gonna have to chill. So, yesterday had multiple destructive things happen. That's a good question. Good to see you too, Extreme Subs. So, Sholto, I cannot pronounce your last name and I won't even attempt it. Ask, is your system covered under the vehicle's insurance? The answer is yes, under contents and under modifications. For the most part, yes. There are different variables, though, depending on the insurance company that you're dealing with, whether or not it's covered fully or whether it's partially covered or and lots of other details. But yeah, for the most part, yes, it is covered. And how it's covered, that varies. And it also has to do whether or not it was professionally installed. That actually is a variable. And how they determine what professionally installed entails. So yeah, it's not a simple answer, unfortunately. It's a complicated answer to a simple question. But yes. So I had issues yesterday. For one, the window fell down over here. I was doing the Lowe's, and this window decided to be a slidey downy window instead of a rolly downy window, and it fell down. But as you can see, through the miracle of a lot of work, I fixed it. So it's no longer able to slide it down or roll it down. Now it is a permanently up window reinforced with multiple pieces of plywood and screws and bolts and other stuff inside this door. It is very secure. It's not going to come down again. That's the thing about, that's the thing about base. Repairs are not simple as just replacing a part. Repairs involve, reinventing the structure. So whenever you, oh yeah, it does. Sorry, Schulte, it definitely goes deep. Just another project. Yeah, I've got a little video of it I haven't put up yet, and I'm compiling a few other repairs together with that. But yeah, he goes, ka-shpoof. So I spent the whole day demoing with the back window down. You guys saw any of my footage from yesterday on my live? And I got several videos up. How's the nuclear power plant? As always. But I did quite a few demos, and everything went very well. Had some really good results. I got the doors back together. I had those apart earlier. So my 6.5s on both sides were doing all manner of weird things. I had turned them off, right? I just went in the app and into my DSP app and turned them off, and they were still making noise. So this side was occasionally going rah, 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 right. The other side wasn't doing nothing. And I got home. So today, after last night, I fixed the window mostly. I got it to where it was structural. And then today I went and tore into it, checked all the wiring at the door is all solid. Because last time when I put that wiring together, you know, I taped the crap out of it, and I taped the wires to the magnets. And I mean, I made sure that it wasn't going to be a problem. And all of that was still hunky-dory. So I go back to the DSP going into the amplifier, and I switched channel 3 and 4, or channel 3 and 4, which is the two 6.5 channels. I switched them, and the problem stayed on the same door, right? So I said, well, it's not a signal in problem because, you know, then on the, then I switched amplifiers. I moved, hooked them up. Anyway, what I wound up doing after a whole lot of fighting with it and being angry, is I had the subwoofer amp that I had a 4-channel amp back here that I was using for my little center sub up front. I was using 300 watts, two channels bridged off that to run my little subwoofer up here in the front. Well, I ran both doors are run parallel, right? That's 2 ohm load on both sides coming back. I took those and ran them in series to get a 4 ohm load again. So all 4 of the silver grill speakers, all 4 of those guys are paralleled in series to 4 ohms, hooked up to the same channel as that center sub, and I got that center sub playing full range from like 90 hertz, 190 hertz up, and I just made it one big mono channel up there for the bottom, and then the tweeters and the 3.5s or the 3.3s on the dash are still stereo, so it works. It was a solution that I came up with that worked. I went through, I was trying all kinds of crap, and I was just having all sorts of issues, and I wanted to get it to where I could play it. So if my box is too small, would it help convert my subs? Well, if your box is really tiny, like if your box is teeny, like you can barely fit a sub in it, inverting your sub is going to help. Inverting your sub is going to help, yes. The question is how much? And for the most part, you can figure about 0.2 to 0.25 cubic feet gained. You'd think it'd be more, but it's not. It's about about 0.2 to 0.20 to 0.25 cubic feet for the average 10, 12, or 15. It's all in that general area. So yes, as much as, you know, setting your phone down on the table before you weigh yourself, yeah, about the same amount. So yes, but oh, I agree. I agree. Hold on a minute. I'll get to you, Black House. Big Dave. I just ordered 2 of 4 DS18 or 2 of 4 DS18 EXL XX 15.4 PHE subs last night. Let the fun begin. So you ordered 2 of 4 15s. Oh, baby. The EXL. I'm trying to remember that line. It's been a little while since I messed with DS18. It should be a solid show right there. Black House says, I'm of the opinion that nothing in front of you should be mono. You're absolutely correct. And under normal circumstances, nothing in front of me is mono. But I'm aggravated. And I got, like, I'm going to tell you, man, I took a beating on this one. So I was trying my best to figure out where the problem is. I've been working on this for a while. It's been randomly just, I'll get it to working and then it stops working. I get it, I tear everything apart and I get it back to where everything's perfect. And I say, okay, it's fixed. I don't know what I fixed, but it's fixed. And then at next show, it starts messing up again. I have no idea why it's doing this. So it's the only thing left is like, the only thing that I had left was like the wiring from the speaker to the amp, right? And I went through it and through it and through it and through it. And I tested it. The ohm loads tested out fine. I put sound on it. Everything was fine. Everything showed that it should work fine. And then it would work fine, but then it would stop working. And I still couldn't figure out why it stopped working. What was wrong? I finally found something that I think will work good enough to get me through the rest of the year. And that's what I did. So you got two SCAR 12s and a 3 cube box. Yeah, that's going to be a tight box, man. That isn't necessarily a bad thing. You see, here's the thing. People, the only real reference as to how good something is one metric. Like, if you ask somebody, how good is this sub? You mean how loud? How loud is it capable of getting? How low is it capable of playing? How smooth is it? All of those things aren't necessarily all in the same device. So when you ask someone how good something is, they'll only answer on the metric that they judge things by. You know, my wife will tell you how good it is how cheap it is. The best frozen pizza is the cheap pizza, the cheapest frozen pizza you can get. That's her metric. And so when you ask her, you're going to get a different answer from that. So I said all that to say this. When it comes to subs in a small enclosure, sometimes a small enclosure will sound better and give you overall better experience depending on the metric that you're using to judge it by. If your metric is how loud can I get it, that's not going to work. If your metric is how low can I get it to play, that's not going to work. But if your metric is how clean and tight and responsive is it, small enclosure is going to end up getting you there, like it or not. So you probably like the way it sounds. You just probably wish it was louder. That would be my guess. And inverting it will help, but not very much. It does look cool, and it also keeps the motors cool. But a small enclosure also has the side effect of creating more pressure, which is it makes it cleaner because it gives the subwoofer more control. But it also creates more pressure, which can actually tear your surrounds and cause physical damage if you put enough power on it to really get them to play low. Then you can wind up causing physical damage, which is you got to go quite kind of out there to get to that point, but it's possible. You know, you can literally start compressing so hard that you tear the speaker up. It's pretty rare. That normally doesn't happen. And yeah, it sounds great. Sounds amazing. It's just not loud enough, and that's why. So that's why a lighter, more efficient sub on lower power would be a better choice than your small enclosure, because it's going to have less cone control on its own, and the box is going to lend to that cone control. So it'll be able to move more with that amount of air pressure inside that small enclosure and give you those lows, right? And as you use a subwoofer that's designed for a very big box and a small box, it ain't got the motor force to do what it needs to do. So that's why you pay attention, very close attention, to the size requirements when you build your box. Always buy the sub for the space that you have, not buy a sub and then figure out how to fit it in there. That you'll always wind up with better results. Like in your example with that 3 cubic foot box, in 3 cubic foot box, you'd be way better off with a single 12 in that box. Or you could also do a single 12 and then a long throw 12-inch passive radiator, and it'll probably play louder and a lot lower with a passive radiator in there than that second 12. Try it. What's the best way to invert without messing up surrounds? Put a ring around the hole. So the easiest way to do it is subwoofers in the hole, right, like normal, and get you some little blocks of wood or little somethings and screw them around the outside. Let me see. I'll show you. We'll go on a field trip. This is the inverting trick without breaking the bank and doing lots of crazy things. We'll get in here where I can give you all a little visual. So what you do, can y'all see? Yeah, you can see. Find something to put on the outside of your speaker around it as it sits in the box normally, all the way around, or at least in 4 places, 3 or 4 places. Attach it to the box, then pull the sub out, flip it over, set it back inside those spaces, and that'll center it up on the hole. Hopefully that made some sense. So you're going to use the frame, the mounting flange in there now to set up a center. And I got you. Use the flange that's on there when the sub's sitting in there normally, and you mount something on the outside of that, right? And then you pull the sub out, flip it over, set it back down, and you'll be centered up. And then when you do that, take your fingers, reach in there where the surround has the bump like that. Reach in there from the back and kind of feel in that surround, and you'll be able to feel the edge of the box. To kind of go around with your fingers and make sure that it's kind of feels even, and it's not the edge of the box is not pushing up into that surround. You can feel it with your fingers. Just do it carefully. There's other ways to do that and make it more professional and whatnot, but it all boils down to what I just said, essentially. You can make a ring to go around it. You can make an extra baffle piece to go around it to create the press deal. Yeah. So how's everybody doing today? Anybody got any wonderful complaints to make? Because I am the complaint department today. If y'all didn't know that, they officially elected me the complaint department. I was the complaint department yesterday too. We had lots of good complaints, and had some awesome demos. Man, we had one where we were doing Beastie Boys. Me and another guy. When the guy getting the demo got in, and I put in Slow and Low, and when we was rapping during the demo, me and him together, and that was pretty funny. So there was a lot of really good times. I had a little girl in there. She's probably, I don't know, 5 or 6. Got in here and got a demo, and I was dropping boom boom on her, and she got a kick out of that. Sugar boom boom, yeah. And her mom was outside the window, and her dad. They were dancing. Her brother and her were in there getting the demo, and their mom and dad were out there dancing and and miming to Sugar Boom Boom. It was great. It was one of my favorite demos. I put the video up of that. It's freaking awesome. Then, but yeah, we had a lot of good times yesterday. One guy on the meter yesterday got a 147 on the glass for 30 seconds, a 30-second run, right, where you had to hold it for 30 seconds. He got, for a 30-second run on the glass, 147 at 18 dB, or 18 hertz, rather. 147 dB at 18 hertz. And he held that for 30 seconds. Man, what a phenomenal run. I mean, it's getting to 47 is a high number. I mean, I'm doing like a 49, right? This cat did a 47 average over 30 seconds at 18 hertz. Wow. Probably the coolest run for the day, man. I mean, there's plenty of stuff that's loud out there, but holy crap. At 18 hertz. Oh, who all's in the house? Sort two. Hear you. Brad Lamb. And you're very welcome. Let's see. I'm just glad the streaming thing is working, so I'm not having to do a vertical stream. Cincinnati. Got earplugs. Yeah, you was here. You was in yesterday. You was on my live yesterday. I remember you popping up. I don't remember what your comment was, but I remember your name. And what's up, Cincinnati? Today is a Q&A. So you guys have to ask questions before I can give any kind of answer. And I will do my best to answer these questions. I always do. But I felt a nice little live today would be a fun thing to do. So that's what we're doing. I was telling the guys earlier, what is that? A robot? Robert Newton sent me a robot. A pink robot head. I'm trying to figure out what that. I don't know. But I was telling the guys earlier that I had a window catastrophically fail yesterday. So I was demoing hard with with one of my back windows gone, and then the speakers in my front stage went all psychotic and were making weird noises. And what's up from Cincinnati, baby? And y'all tell me, what is that thing? I can't figure that out. The robot. I just don't know what that is. Ugh. But I struggled and I fought, and I finally did manage to get that speakers working. Let's see here. Trying to figure out. Okay. El Fuego. Y'all, El Fuego. Fuego, one of the few green team members that showed up. So everybody's got to act right. El Fuego's in the house in the Pacific Northwest. He bought tacos yesterday, and I'm still eating. Mama made me some goulash earlier, man. I'm getting down. I'm running. I'm doing the duck. You see the duck? The StreamYard duck. I tried to use this once before, and it was hit and miss. Because I don't know, it just wasn't working right. It was all doing the thing, but it wasn't actually broadcasting on YouTube. So I guess I got it fixed, which is good, because here coming up soon, we got the Big Jeff. So I got a few announcements to make. Now that you guys, now that Fuego's here, we're all saved. Everybody's safe because El Fuego's in the house. And Bobby B was here, security would be holding the door down, and then we'd all be locked up. But yeah, and Mike told me to watch out for you, El Fuego. He said you're shady. So yeah, Big Jeff. I have got an affiliation set up with Big Jeff, and I am really looking forward to this. We've had quite a few little talks, and he seems like a really, really solid guy, really cool guy, and he's being extremely nice to me and cordial, and that's what I was looking for in a person. You know, I mean, there's no relationship going to be perfect, but if as long as we can be cordial and polite and kind to each other, that's all you can ask for. So through that, in the near future, I'm going to be on one of the podcasts. So you guys got any kind of questions you want me to ask? Now's the time to talk about them, because put the stuff in my brain where when I'm on the podcast. And I got Big Jeff on the mic, and I got everybody in the room. What questions do you want to ask? This is a good time to get those out there, and so that I can consider whether or not they're appropriate, and maybe try to slip them in. I've also got a deal set up with B2, and I'm looking forward to that too. And there is what is that? What is that, Robert Newton? See, the last time it was a robot. Now he's sending me a duck. I guess it's a duck. Come on, man. Words. Use your words. This is not a project day. This is a Q&A day. I don't have a script. I have to answer questions. Duck is not a question. It's an image. Can do better. Trying to get a job. Fuego. Fuego said he's trying to get a job in sales with the Big Jeff, but didn't make the cut. Man, I'm guessing that was are you talking about like physically located in Ocala, Florida, or online, like an online distributor or something like that? More specific ish. Uh, I don't know. I can't speak on that. I can say that there was a period of time when Big Jeff was in the hospital, and he had his crew there at the location in Florida that was basically running the whole show while he was in the hospital. There, in theory, that could have been something to do with, with that. I don't know. I have no idea. But it may be that Jeff wasn't involved in that decision. It may also be that he was. I don't know. I don't know any of those details, but I could probably figure out a way to ask that question without putting you under the bus. Of course, it is entirely possible that Big Jeff is watching the stream right now, or that he'll be watching it later on the recap. So maybe if he is, or if he shows up or whatever, he may answer the question for you. Don't know. Next victim. So who all's built a sub box with the when the box was too small? How did that go? Yeah, these are questions. So back in the day, I had a Ford Probe 90. I believe it was like I want to say it was like a 91 or a 92. I could be totally wrong about that. They wasn't out but a few years, but I had one. And I built a Sony Explode system in it. The whole system, front to back, was all Sony Explode. And it was one of my first actual builds that I did with any that was really professional. So I had taken in the back, and I had put in built the subwoofers to where they were built into the body on both sides, and even though the sides weren't the same back there, one was shaped different than the other. The finished result was all shaped the same, and I had a magnet out subwoofer on each side, and then I had a board in the middle that went up on an angle, and I had my big Sony Explode amp up there on the board. Then the cover that comes down and covers up the parcels, I redid that with a piece of 1/2 inch. I had it colored red on the underneath and then gray on the top. So when you closed it down, all you saw was a gray tray. When you opened up the hatch, it pulled up and you saw the red underneath and all the red inside there. It was really pretty cool. And but the downside to that was my subwoofer enclosures were tiny on either side. And that left it sounding really good, but not being very loud. So, Robert Newton says he was having phone troubles. That's why he kept sending me ducks. All right. El Fuego. We'll get to you in a second, Robert. El Fuego says, I'm looking at a sub box build, and the design software available today is awesome. Yes, it is. But the problem is, design software works exactly the same as a tool. Any tool, right? Now, this may be an awesome tool, but if the person using it is a dingus head, he's just going to destroy stuff. So when you're the best thing you can do to improve your design abilities and your overall capability is to learn. Learn as much as you can about using that software and about what those little small changes that you think might not mean a whole lot, what they actually do, and how each one of those things affects everything else. So that whenever you're looking at an enclosure and you're going, you need to get to the point to where when you see the enclosure and the perimeters and you know it's doing a thing, like it's got too much of this or not enough of this, in your mind, you go, oh, these need to be lowered. And then that will, as these numbers go down, that will go away or whatever. You need to have that to where in your brain is connected to that software in such a way that you know what making a change is going to do to the overall thing. And you know what, by looking at what's going on, the subwoofer enclosure built, what changes would happen would cause other things to happen. It needs to kind of get an intuitive sense for it and also understand exactly what all you're doing. Because just putting in perimeters and popping out information is okay until you run into weird circumstances. You need to start wrapping your head around it. And eventually you will. And that's cool. And then even the very best designers out there use software. But they also have an intuitive idea of where they're going and what's going to work before they even get into the design process. And that also helps you eliminate a stupid mistake. So like, you go into it knowing, oh man, that's probably going to be, like earlier with those subs, that's probably going to be a 3 cubic foot box and 2 12s. That's not going to be a big enough space. I'm going to need like 6 feet. You already kind of have that in your head. You've already started it. So when you get on the software and you put everything in it and it's giving you perimeters for an 8-foot box, you go, wait a minute. Something was wrong. I put something in wrong, right? Tacos tonight, baby. Fuego, you're the bomb. But yeah, you're looking at it and you go, hey, that ain't right. Something ain't right. Having that intuitive knowledge and that experience will catch that, whereas somebody else will just put the numbers in, spit it out, and they go, oh, that's the box. Only to realize that they moved the decimal wrong or something whenever they're putting it in. So having a good understanding is really important. And so let's go back to Newton's. El Fuego bought the tacos, baby. I love you, El Fuego. You're something else, man. Let's see. Robert Newton says, this time, no ducks. Robert Newton said, I don't know how many dB my system is, but it will hurt you. And then he went on to say, port size, how does that affect cubic feet on a ported box? Well, there's like 2 different dynamics when it comes to a ported enclosure, and that means any kind of ported enclosure, whether it be a 6th order or a 4th order or just a normal ported enclosure. Anytime you have a port and an enclosure, that's a ported enclosure, and all those have all those things. The larger a cubic feet is in the airspace that you've got, it's not port, right? What they'd call the sealed section, or no, that's not correct. The non-port section, the environment the sub is in, the more airspace you have in there, the lower the frequency is going to be for the overall tune. So larger airspace is going to be a lower frequency. But that's also relevant relative to the port length and port diameter. So, and the coalition between those two is something I am only remotely familiar with. But the port length, the longer a port is, the lower the tuning is. Well, let me rephrase that. The longer the port is in relation to the diameter of the port, the lower the tune is. So you can make a port that's tiny and a couple feet long, and it'll be very low, but it's also going to be very noisy, a lot of wind noise. Make a port that's bigger, it has to be a little longer relative to that bigness. So that's why getting a big box tuned really low and not having a real chuffy port is tricky because you've got to make a port big enough so that it doesn't chuff. You don't get too much wind speed. And then when you do that, you got to put that whole port in there somewhere to get that length long enough to get it low. Tricky business. In the home theater department, they use little tiny tubes that are like that long, and that's the equivalent of a big old huge port, but only because you're putting a very small amount of power on it and they're with a very small cone, so there's not a lot of wind velocity and actually plays very low. It is what it is. The larger airspace on a sealed enclosure is going to play lower mainly because it has less control over the cone. The cone's going to play. It's going to be able to move those long throws easier, so it's going to be able to dig low and play those low notes. There's so many different dynamics in there, and I am not a box building expert. I can give you some basic ideas, but I would defer to software and to more experienced people to actually design one. Let's see what is going on. Tacos. We're going to be tacos. Troy Greeton says, what do I recommend for a clean, tight base in a GMC extended cab pickup? I can answer this real easy. Okay. I can give you an answer that is more what you're looking for. But before I do that, I'm going to answer it really, really easy. A JL Audio stealth box. Done. It is what it is. Essentially, for clean, tight bass. If clean and tight is the most important thing, then there's the Bobby B. There's the guys, the security's at the door, so you're going to have to use your IDs to get in now. Because Bobby B's going to take you out. If you try to sneak in and you're underage, Bobby B's going to get you. So, my security has arrived. What's up, Bobby B? A smaller, if sound quality is what you're looking for over everything else, sealed enclosure is always going to sound better. And you'll be able to put a smaller one in there. You don't need a whole lot of power. Like I said, just buy a JL stealth box. It's honestly going to sound better than pretty much anything you're going to build. Let's see. Well, okay, yeah, get him, Bobby. Bobby laid down the law. Bobby has laid down the law. Bobby said you have to. Bobby says you have to join the green team to get your questions answered. Get him, Bobby. No problem, Troy. And honestly, that you may think it's a cop out, but trust me when I say that's not a cop out. Get a JL stealth box, put like 500 watts on it, and prepare to have your mind blown. You'll be extremely happy with that. Fuego. Oh, yeah, Fuego is always on fire. Troy greets. Thank you. You're welcome. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, Robert. Robert Newton says, does a subwoofer with a higher FS mean it's better for standard music? That's that question again. For whose standard music? You know, my standard music and Fuego's standard music may not be the same standard in music. So you got to watch those loose terms, man. What is standard for you is not standard for somebody else. Traditional, like, okay, let's say like 80s yacht rock. Okay. Or rock and roll. Or 70s rock and roll, 80s rock and roll. Those are kind of areas you can say standard isn't a good term. To answer your question, a higher FS is going to be a higher frequency that it wants to vibrate at. It's going to tend to like playing the frequencies at the FS. But and also the higher FS tends to be a cleaner overall sub. So there's a couple of things about FS that are mistaken from people. All right. For those of you who don't know, the FS of something is what frequency it likes to do a thing at. All right. You see that? That is the FS of this hose. That is its FS. And no matter whether it's swinging this little bit, right, or swinging a whole lot, it still does it at the same time. The time from this point to this point is the same if it's going a little bit or a whole lot. That is the FS of this hose. Everything has one. Now, whenever you try, when you got this FS going, right? When you got that going and you try to do something at that FS, it'll play right along with you. It really likes it. It'll just do this. It gets really with it. When you try to do a different number, try to go this way. No, we're not doing that. And that's when it bites you. And you may think I'm crazy, but that is exactly what's happening with a speaker whenever it's got its FS that it's wanting to move at. It's in and out, and it's going to naturally want to swing at that timing. So what does that have to do with the driver, with the question? Does a subwoofer with a higher FS make it better for standard music? Whenever, if a subwoofer has a very low FS, let's say it's got like a 25 hertz FS. At 25 hertz, it's going to be getting with it, right? It's going to really want to go because that's the frequency it wants to swing anyway, right? It's like trying to get a horse to go home. He's going to go. He's just going to go faster. Always go faster when they head at home than they do when they're going out. But as that driver gets to moving a whole lot, it will increase the resistance because you're going to get that impedance rise. As that coil is moving back and forth through that magnet violently, it's going to increase impedance, which means the power that's getting to the speaker is going to reduce. So, funny thing, at your FS, you're going to be getting less power to the speaker. The speaker is going to be wanting to go. It's going to be wanting to run, but your power is actually going to drop because of the impedance. So it kind of sort of balances itself out, but then having the FS in different locations is going to change all those dynamics. And again, I am not an expert in this department. I can only give you a rough picture of it. But that's essentially, to answer your question, normally, yes, but not always. And it depends on the box design and a whole lot of other stuff. But in a nutshell-ish, yes. There's the FS. my little green wire. Let's see what else is going on here. Get a quick kicker. Oh, now he's talking about an extended cab Chevy pickup truck. Yeah, you could put a kicker quad box in there. You're right, Bobby. You absolutely could. I don't think that's what the man has in mind, though, or person. Oh my gosh, Bobby Burkett. Yeah, right. Bobby Burkett. Oh, Fuego facts. Let's see here. Oh, Robert Newton. He's buying tacos too. You got a challenger today, El Fuego. Rob is buying tacos. Yeah, baby. Hell yeah. Steve Smith. Is a bass restoration processor, an EQ, and a DSP overkill. I play Dusty's, old R&B, rap, by the way. What do you have and recommend? All right. So let me reread this and make sure I have these answers and these questions properly organized. Is bass restoration processor an EQ and a DSP overkill? Hell no. Could they conflict each other if you don't know what you're doing? Yeah. If I start screwing and I get this in the way, it ain't gonna work, right? They're both great tools, but they gotta do their own thing. Yeah, they could conflict with each other. The point is, you got three amazing tools, and all of them have different jobs, and some of them overlap. For instance, in your DSP, you've got the mother of all EQs. You got an EQ for each individual channel. Myself, I personally, if I'm tuning for SQ setup, I like to use an EQ to tune each individual channel and get it where I want it. And then when I get done with that setup, I use an EQ, my main EQ on the source to tune the whole system to my liking, all getting crushed and lifted at the same time to get that overall sound. So I use the EQ for the different speakers, different channels, to get those channels locked in and to get those sounding right and correct for all the bad shapes and weird placements of things. And so that at my center, it sounds like all those are coming in at the same, right? Then I use my master EQ to EQ the whole system up and down to my liking. That's how I do it. And of course, and then you can use a bass restoration to give, some of the old songs a little kick in the pants and get those lows a little more rich. Because a lot of times back in the day, they didn't record a lot of stuff on vinyl was left at 100 hertz, 90 hertz and up. They didn't really record much low information because they couldn't on a record. It was too much real estate. It cost money. So all the music back then was like 90 hertz and up. And yeah, going back and listening to that now, adding some low end. Yeah, that's totally cool. What do I have is a DSP right now, and then I use the EQ in my tablet as my overall EQ. So that's what I do. And I'm using a Audio Dynamic 46 AT DSP. Let's get back in here and see what else we got going on. Fuego. So John Clayton said, for musicality, tune far away from the FS as you can. Yeah, that's not a bad piece of advice. Not entirely true, but it is mostly true. It's good advice. Fuego. Well, the CAE rep crew bus today, baby. Yeah, Bobby and El Fuego running the show. All right, so BJ Burton said, what up, what up? And goes on to ask, what do you think about audio pipe? I've got a little bit of experience with audio pipe. Unfortunately, the videos aren't on this channel. There's a long story to that. But I was running 4 of the audio pipe. I think they were triple X's, if I'm not mistaken, 12s. They had the triple stack magnets, or maybe they were quad stack magnets. They were some beastly 12s, and I'm running those in my Ford F-150. And I had an Orion XTR 2500.1. on those 4 audio pipes. They were in a window box. Well, in other words, in my F-150 extended cab, I went up to the window, right? The window was still fully open. So it was kind of a half wall up to the window, and I had 412s in there, ported, fire in front, ported front. And that sucker played nasty down into like the 26, 27 hertz. That was one of those ridiculous, weird combinations that just got all down in the dirt. And I wished I had that set up back. Oh my God, it sounded so good. That rig hit so hard that it would make your foot jump off the brake pedal. When you sit at the stoplight, you had to put a lot of pressure on your brake foot because it would the pedal would try to throw your foot off the pedal. It was just that much lows. Freaking awesome. Never did blow one of those either. They held up really well. So I don't think much about their amplifiers. I've had a few friends running the amps. I don't think the amps make their power. They don't tend to be bad amps, but from what I've seen, I don't think they actually make their power. That doesn't necessarily make them bad. Just keep your expectations within check. Oh, holy crap. Bobby B. Son, I hopped off. You probably answered my question the other night. If I'm running a 17-foot of, alt gauge wire from the battery to the JP95, the JP calls for a 160 amp fuse. You said the fuse at the battery, and just, we continue. Should be a 250. No, I said that, but I also, it could be anywhere. All right. Yeah. Okay. Fuse the wire, not the amplifier. You can fuse lower, right? You can fuse as low as you want to, as long as you don't fuse above the wire. So a 17-foot alt gauge, I think that's actually like a 350 amp rating. I would still run it. I would still rate it in my head as a 300 amp rating or a 250 amp rating. But your amp doesn't call for that much capacity, right? It doesn't matter. You're not fusing the amp. You're fusing the wire. So you could fuse it at 160 amps. You could fuse it at anything above what the amp needs and below what the wire needs. You're fusing the wire, though. You're not fusing the amp. The amp doesn't need a fuse. The amp, it's irrelevant. There's no fuse involved with the amp. Just fusing the wire. Sure, you can do that. You could fuse a 250 at the battery and a 160 at like the amp. Sure, that'd be totally fine. As long as you're fusing at least the wire, you can do whatever you want beyond that. You could just run a 160 at the battery. If all you're planning on pulling through the wire is 140 amps, 130, 150, you can fuse it at 160. That's fine. Just don't fuse higher than what the wire can handle. Yeah. And you can put a fuse at the amp too, but you don't really need one. The amp isn't a source of power. So nothing can happen that fuse it makes that fuse necessary. If the amp starts pulling more than 160 amps of current, which is what would blow that fuse, it's either working harder than it should, which is, I guess, okay, or it has malfunctioned. If it has malfunctioned in such a way that it's pulling way more amperage than it's rated for, it's broken. And a fuse is not going to fix that. It's just going to blow the fuse. So, yeah. Hopefully, that was helpful. I don't know why that people get confused. See, they had fuses in amplifiers for a long time. Those fuses, and still do in some cases, those fuses were between the power supply and the amplifier and the rest of the amplifier. So it wasn't fusing in the power wire going into the amp. It was fusing between the power supply so that if there was a problem, it could blow fuses and save the amplifier. They don't do that anymore. And you're just SOL. You know, putting a fuse in the wire isn't going to do the same thing as having fuses on the amplifier. The fuse on the wire is there specifically to protect the wire and to keep it from burning things down if it tries to pull more current than it can handle. I hope that was helpful. I know it's confusing and I have a hard time trying to put it into words that make sense. But yes, you can fuse both ends of the wires. No big deal. Put a 250 up there by the battery and then throw a 160 back by the amplifier. That's all well and good. Everybody gets all the love. Who's next? Man, that big fought me all the way to the bank. I just bought that one yesterday, too. I smoke too much. All right. No problem, brother. Eric Thomason. That's like the combination of my wife's maiden name and my last name. That's cool. Do you miss your ultracapacitor? Truck Thunder say take it out. Oh, hell no. No. And do I miss it? No. But I was not even remotely encouraged to remove it. I just have no need for it right now. And I'll explain why it's not in here. So it's real simple. Number one, would the extra capacity be cool? Sure. But I'm doing two things. One is I'm demonstrating at shows and at events what this particular battery is capable of. And whenever it's running solo, people get it. It sinks in. Okay. That is the part of me that's representing this company. Okay. So that's why I set it up to run totally by itself, is because I want them to understand that this is capable of. And if I've got other stuff in there helping it, then they go, oh, well, but you have the, and then you have the, it doesn't really sink in, right? The second part of that is straight up, don't need it. It just don't need it. Dude, I can run, like earlier today, I was testing out here. I have my vehicle turned off. Well, I had it turned on, had the key on, but I hadn't had it running, right? And I was out here messing with this thing for an hour plus with the radio. And then after I got it working, I got in there and I was cranking up the subs. I had the thing going full tilt boogie. My wife yelling at me out the door, telling me to turn it down because I was shaking the walls. All this time, the vehicle wasn't even on. I had forgotten that it wasn't running. And after all of that, and I've been thundering it for 5 or 6 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, just dropping the hammer. I realized it and I turned the volume down. I looked down at the volt gauge and it was sitting at 13.1. It had no input. It was just sitting at 13.1. That's where it rests at. It rests at 13.1. When I'm charging it, it'll rest while it's being charged at about 13.5, 13.7. But when nothing's going into it, it'll fall down to a rest state of 13.1. And that's where it had been. The whole time it had dipped down a little below that when I was playing it. But as soon as I cut everything off, it's 13.1. I straight up don't care. So the answer to your question is, no, I was not even encouraged to remove it. in any kind of way, shape, or form. I did that just to put more emphasis on the fact that this one battery is carrying this whole system. And I want people to be able to see that and understand that. Could a capacitor help? It wouldn't hurt. And no, I don't smoke Newports, Clayton. Clayton said, Newports, no, heart disease. That's what I got. All right. So, yes, I got congestive heart failure and I still smoke. Blah, blah, blah. Just talk to my doctor. Y'all be great friends. Y'all can all hang out together and play volleyball and talk about how stupid this old white dude is. Now we can move on. Let's see if I missed anything back here. I'm going to scroll back and see if I missed anybody. If anybody got missed, there's too many back there. If anybody got missed, speak up. Now's the time to announce yourself and be free, fly. And I still have my Ultra Cap and I still have my AGM. I got it stashed over here in the building. It's hard for me to flip the camera on this app, so I can't. Wait a minute. I might end up screwing up if I try this, but I'm going to try it anyway. See what this does. Nope, that wasn't it. That mutes the camera. That's in case I want to get naked in behind the camera and don't want y'all to see. That's what that's for. I guess there's a mute button too. And I got a guest button. Ain't nobody coming to see me though. Oh, what we got here? We got people talking. Oh, well, crap. Come back. Come back. All right. Let's see. All right. Joe, I'm talking with you yesterday. I might look into getting one of those batteries for my old lady's car. Can handle more. And Joe, remind me who you are, because I talked to a lot of people yesterday. That way I can put a picture with that in my head. Eric Thompson said, I looked in the trunk Thunder Lithium. It's a good price. Yes, it is. Consider you can buy most of the stuff you need to make some of this stuff a little cheaper, but you're also risking buying crappy cells and buying the wrong thing to do the right thing with. Brandon does an extremely good job on sorting and getting things balanced in such a way that it just works really, really well and is very dependable. He uses very best cells you can get. He uses medical grade balancers. He's been doing this for a while. He's got it down to an art form, and he builds really good stuff that you don't have to worry about. So I like the not having to worry about it part. And that's why I go through Brandon. And the prices they're not cheap, but when you compare them to other stuff that's a similar quality, they're usually better or equal. And I put my money on Brandon's bills more over everybody else's because he puts his hands on everything. Holy crap. Somebody did something. What is this? I'm missing. El Fuego. Holy crap. El Fuego, what did you do? Let me go back. I can't get it to pop up. I don't know how. It's broken. It's broken. Now, Fuego already gave me that one. Hold on. Shit. What did I do? No. I am totally confused. Oh, I did manage to come back. Holy crap. That was a war. I thought I'd lost you guys completely. They're all probably going, what the hell happened? Uh, Stupid happened. El Fuego, I was trying to put, El Fuego donated a 20. He's bought extra tacos. And I can't quite read his comment, but I'm afraid I'm going to break the whole thing if I try. Going in for surgery on September the 24th with an 12 week recovery. Guys like Bobby Burkett, me, and the audio community will get me through the recovery. Thanks to all. And I can't read the last part of that, Bobby B. I don't know. The stupid thing is messed up. Okay, here we go. Yeah. I found it. So there we go. Thanks to all my friends for your support during these tough times. And thank you, El Fuego. Thanks to you, I eat a lot of tacos, my friend. And I really, you lost me for a minute, but I'm back. I hope y'all can see me now. I'm reaching. Yeah, I know he's reaching. They're calling for me. El Fuego, I wish you the best, brother. And just remember, you're paying for the food in the hospital, so eat a lot of it and give them nurses hell. So, and late at night, the tuna sandwich is going to be way better than the ham sandwich. Always go for the tuna. It's going to have a lot better flavor at nighttime whenever you get hungry. Just coming from experience, I spent plenty of time in the hospital myself. The pudding, and the tuna sandwiches. Holy crap, man! You guys are awesome. It really is. That's an understatement, but El Fuego. There's most of the people in this community are older. We're not a bunch of young people anymore. We've had a chance to run all them wild oats out of our system, and we figured out what we want in life and what we have to do to get it. How we have to work to get it, and we just move through it, and the little things don't really phase us anymore. So we don't let all them little things really get our goat. We just stand around and watch all the youngsters act stupid over little things, and we just get our stuff done. But that's a commonality amongst all of us. We've already been there. We've already seen it. We've already stumbled. We've already failed. Oh yeah. Getting the wife to sneak food in. Yeah, that is a jam. Usually, depending on what kind of diet you're on, what kind of operation or procedure, usually you can get away with eating most anything, but don't hurt yourself. But yeah, I used to sneak in. I used to sneak in McDonald's for my wife. I'd go by and grab her a McDonald's. She liked that. She liked them little cheeseburgers, the little McDoubles. She liked them McDoubles. So I'd stop up there and grab a couple of them and smuggle them in. If you get to know the nurses pretty good, you can even get on the microwave stuff at the nurse's station for you. On a seafood diet, yeah, I'm on a seafood diet too. I see food, I eat it. But that's one of them things, man. If y'all worried about the superficial crap in life, you're like, oh man, I gotta lose weight. I gotta do this and that. No, you ain't. You gotta be happy. Be happy. Be happy with who you are and what you are. And if somebody else ain't happy with it, screw them. They can go find a cliff and jump off of. Just be yourself. Do you. Don't worry about somebody else. That's just my. It may not be the right thing to think. That's how my brain works, man. I do me. And if people that are drawn to me, You know, they find me interesting. They're going to find me interesting all the time because I'm always the same guy. The person the person that's talking to y'all right now is the same guy you would meet when you go and you meet me somewhere. You're going to meet the same exact person. I do not change off camera. I'm the same exact person. I use a little bit more foul language off camera, but that's about it. Nothing else changes. I should be out. Fuego says should be out of surgery, but bedridden for 2 weeks at home. So you're gonna be bedridden at home, same day, but bedridden for 2 weeks at home. No, I can't do that. That don't work. I tell them, look, no, y'all got to keep me. Because if you let me out this door, after about 2 days, I'm gonna be up doing some crap that you don't want me to do. I ain't gonna be staying in the bed. If you want me to be in the bed, you're gonna have to keep me at this hospital because once I get out this door and I have the ability to get up and drag whatever broken crap I have around and stumble and fall around I'm gonna be out there doing shit. I'm gonna be out here working on this. I can't lay there. You got to force me to stay in the bed. So Hitman said, late to chat. How's that sub holding up? 100%, baby. That super glue gel, I never had any issues using super glue gel. I've used it before. I don't like using regular super glue because it's too wet. This runs. The gel actually has some thickness to it, and it allows them materials to really bond well. The gel also has a little bit of rubberiness to it, just a tiny bit, which allows the tiniest bit of flexibility, which is what you want whenever you're doing things like that. Super glue gel works. My favorite, though, is still the RC car tire glue, that black. It's essentially super glue gel with like a powdered rubber mixed into it. It's the same stuff you get to glue on the tires on an RC car, outdoor RC cars, to glue them to those plastic wheels. That is some awesome. That's my favorite. But the gel is just fine. What we got going on here? GA95. Is Rockford Fosgate a good company for mids and highs? Oh, hell yes. Rockford Fosgate. So I have go-to things that I throw out there when people ask me questions. When someone wants to know what the best coaxial is, and they don't give me no other information than that, what's the best coaxial? All right. I have a go-to answer. Alpine Type R. The Alpine Type R is the best coaxial. In every category, it's really good. In every category. It's loud. It's clean. It's tough. It takes punishment. It's predictable. It's easy to EQ. It sounds good. It does all those things. The Type R is my favorite coaxial driver for any situation. Having said that, if you're going for the most loud, the most crazy, the most intense, Fosgate usually has that covered. But yeah, excellent choice. All of them, all your brands do though. And yeah, Kicker K5, sure. Bobby says Kicker K5 for the win for me. Absolutely. I have no problem with that answer. Fuego wants to know if I have any old gear for sale. Hardcore collector. I know you are. I always need it. Old gear though. You know, the oldest piece of gear I have is over there on the wall, and I can't sell that. That's that lamp right over there. That one. And you wouldn't want that anyway. It's not collectible because it's all defaced and everything. But that I can't sell that because that's my friend's amp. He just gave it to me on a permanent loan. We permanently loan each other shit all the time. And the only stipulation with a permanent loan is you can have it for the rest of your life, but you can't get rid of it. If you get rid of it, it has to go back to the original person. That's how the permanent loan thing works. Can't sell it. You can't give it away. It has to come back to him. If I let go of it, it goes back to him. Or I give it to the person he chooses me to give it to. Permanent loan. I got all kinds of stuff like that. The only thing I have that's old, well, yeah. I got an old Sony Explode. An old Sony Explode subwoofer. But still one of the better sounding subwoofers I've ever heard. Can't put a lot of power on it, but it sounds really good. And no, I'm not really the man for the old collectible stuff. So Eric, let's see here. Eric Thomason again says, how do you find out about the car audio shows? I'm not from Missouri. I'm not far from Missouri or Northwest Tennessee, but I've never even been to a show. Well, okay. I'll catch up with El Fuego and Bobby here in a minute. I'm going to answer his question. The best way to find out about shows is on Facebook. Go on there and search for the Midwest SPL and look for their Facebook group, and also Base Wars and look for their Facebook group and sign up for both of those groups. They will announce schedules every year, and they will also randomly announce things when things are coming up. Another one, if you live over in Tennessee, who's that company that Bruce EXO is repping for? I can't think of the name of them. They're based out of Tennessee. So that's the other thing, is find a local car audio distributor or company or installer or shop, and that's local, and they'll usually have information about the stuff that's going to happen close by, because they're usually either involved in it or sponsoring it, or though they have horses in that race. That's the easiest way. Those two techniques. Showtime Electronics. Look them up, find their Facebook page and get on that. Follow them, and EXO Contralto, because he goes to all the Showtime shows in Tennessee. So there'll be some stuff coming up, and that'll be a good way to find those. Fuego says, I love Rockford Fosgate. Me too, baby. I've had good luck with Rockford in my life. Expect to get a well package. A get well package at the end of the month. Fuego, you're going to be getting some tacos, baby. He's going to be sending you some tacos. I hope it's just tacos. Hitman says, I had 2 6.5-inch Fosgate coaxials. I could not hurt them. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what reminded me of the Alpine Type R's. Same concept. I've abused the crap out of them, and I've had by9s, by9 two ways from Rockford, and 6.5-inch two ways. I don't think I've ever blown anything from Rockford as far as mids and highs, but my favorite is Alpine Type R. If you want to just get loud, stupid, and have something that's just going to keep going and going and going and going, Alpine Type R. It's an absolutely ridiculous speaker. They are great. GA95 says, yeah, I love Rockford Fosgate too. For now, I have a double 15 P3. Yeah, baby. I like the P3s. I got a boy here locally that's got 3 P312s that he's selling. I don't remember what he wants for them though. Uh, he's very likely to see this. He may even be in chat. Hell, that could very well. No. Um, it sounded amazing. Now I have to think about mids and highs. I got you. So you want to go with the Rockford? Yeah. You can't go wrong with them, man. You'll be very happy. The was it the Rockford? I think it's the T1 tweeters, the lowest level tweeters, the cheapest tweeters that they have. I had a set in my Ford F-150. I had 100 watts on each one of them for like a year. Never blew them things. That was the cheapest one they made. I figured they would last a hot week, and they just never blew. Like crap, man. All right, let's see. Fuego says, "You let me know if you need anything on permanent loans." Yeah, baby. Hey, you never know, man. That's how I roll, though. I do permanent loans, and that's just the way I see it. If you want money, then ask for money. But if you want a piece of gear, it's a permanent loan. You feel me? So if I send you some gear, I expect you to need the gear and want the gear, not sell it for money. That's kind of the concept. And plus, a lot of times gear sticks around. I like to keep it. I like it. It's cool. It's in my life. I want it to be in your life, but I don't want to lose it. If you go somewhere else, I want it to come back to me. That's how that works. Yes. And Bobby Burkett, Showtime. Yeah, you're right. I know I was losing my damn mind. And Bobby also says ISCA. Yeah, but you're getting usually going to be getting into. Yeah, that's a good choice. Most of the shows that you're going to be looking to go to, though, are going to be either Midwest SPL, especially in Tennessee, or Base Wars. And so if you're following those two guys, you're going to be solid. Hopefully, I gave you enough information where you can get on the train. Did I miss any questions? Guys, if I missed something, I have a hard time going back very far because I wind up breaking the internet, which is what I did earlier. So if I didn't answer your question, re-question it and I'll catch it. You probably got caught up in the taco push of 2024. Because we was pushing some tacos. So what do y'all think about my power wire test where I'm melting the crap out of everything? Anybody got any input on that? I thought it was kind of neat. So, oh man, no, it wasn't that. Yeah, I'm old and pushing the wrong buttons, but that's not it. The buttons were moving around and buttons were covering up other buttons. So I was trying to push a button that was behind another button. It was a chaotic mess. Let's see. William says, you ever get to Northwest Arkansas, the Bella Vista? Come check you guys out and kick it. Northwest Arkansas. That's over there, Fayetteville and all that, up in the corner. Hi-Fi Vega lives over in that area. So just a heads up. He likes the Sonic. He's all about the Sonic, man. He's a big Sonic man. I am too. But look up Hi-Fi Vega. He lives over in that area. Any shows in that area, he's likely to show up there. William, I'm running welding wire and I love it. Guys, I agree. Now, I'm going to show y'all something. I got it laying out here on the table. This was Sky High, or was it? No, it was Sundown. This was Sundown wire, and this was welding wire. Now, I pulled the wire out of it, but you see the difference in the jackets? They both went through the same thing. In fact, this one went through twice as high of a temperature as this one did for twice as long. Big difference, right? And you can insert your favorite brand in there. They all have that. The car audio wire all has a much lower melting point. GA 95 says, I would like to put the Hertz Milli 3-way system in the front and a rear, and amplify them with maybe an Audison or RF Punch Series amplifier. Man, if you're trying to go, you might want to consider the kicker key. Look into that. Kicker key. It's an amplified auto DSP system, all in one. Does a phenomenal job on building a front stage. Just keep that in mind. Having said that, the most important choice you can make, if you're going Hertz Milli, you're serious about your sound. All your choices are good. What you've got listed, those are good choices. But I think I would recommend, more importantly than the amplifier, is a good DSP. A good DSP can make a bad amplifier sound amazing. So focus on DSP first, then amplifier. I think that's better way to spend your money. Does he live here? Yes, he lives in that general part of the state. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe he lives up around Fayetteville. So yeah, look him up. Get on Facebook, find him on Facebook, you'll get a better idea. New Concepts. I agree. I like New Concepts wire. I've used the crap out of it. Let's see here. Where is it at? New Concepts. This, I took it apart, remember, but this was welding wire. You see how that casing looks? I cut it apart to get the wire out. This is New Concepts. This did 10 minutes. This only did 5. Yeah. But I like New Concepts too. I have it in my build right now. So Bobby B, I let the meat tell its own story. You take what you want from that. You know what I'm saying? I ain't trying to preach. I'm just going to lay it on the table, and then you can look at it. Fuego says, if I ever make it to Springfield, I'll be looking you up. Brother, I will gladly give you my information. All you have to do is hit me up in an email. Okay? Shoot me an email, and it's in the description of like all my videos. Hit my email up, shoot me an email, and I will gladly, we can come over here and we'll hang out right here in this carport and talk smack. Gladly. The kicker key, yeah. That's what I was talking about, the key. A 200.4 is a badass little rig. It's a little 4-channel amplifier that has its own DSP. You just set it up on the headrest. It programs itself, does all the stuff, makes it sound awesome, and makes your speakers really happy. It's a really cool little amplifier DSP unit. And if you're really crazy, you can use a Kicker Key 0.4 as a line driver for bigger amps. So you can hook that sucker up and feed those speaker outs into bigger amplifiers. And you could use it as a little DSP line driver for a bigger amp and get more power. Little known secret. But from what I understand, whenever you do that, you do want to run it on speakers first, let it tune itself on speakers, and then you can add the amplifiers and pull the signals out. William Bill says, can you not know what that word is? Urco.ed, a good DSP with a lot of outputs, good price. I don't have a clue what that word is. I know you meant something else. Maybe you corrected it. No. Yeah, I don't know what that means. But okay. We'll skip that and come back to it later whenever you figure out that I'm stupid and don't know how to read that word. Springfield, brother. I lived in Battlefield for a while about 8 years ago. Springfield's cool, man. Springfield, Missouri is one of those magical places that it's just enough city to have all the cool stuff, but it's still small enough that you can be outside of town in 10 minutes and be out in the country. It's not too big, not too small. Fairly decent economy. It's a cool place. Kind of like a magnet. When you come to Springfield, you tend to get stuck here. Yes. Wow. Yeah. That was in Springfield. Yes, I am in Springfield. William Biddle. Mississippi. Robert, that's where you at? I grew up in Robert Newton. I grew up in Southeast Arkansas. Down there in the rice fields, out in the country, riding the horses and dragging manes and chasing girls. Stuttgart, Arkansas. That was where all the girls are. They had another name for Stuttgart, Arkansas. Use your imagination. All the girls was there. Yeah. For sure. So GA95 said, I've never had a three-way system before. Always had two ways. What's the difference? I'm into SQ stuff. Three-way is going to give you more presence. Most of the okay. This is a complicated and detailed and in-depth question. I'm going to try to skate over it and make it a basic question. But most of the information that's your earball, you got your eyeball and you got your earball. Most of the information that your earball likes to hear is between about 300 hertz up to about 7,000 hertz, somewhere in that range. And that's the vocal range, where human voices, dangerous animals, all that kind of stuff, all falls into that range. And what a two-way set gives you a woofer that plays up to here, and then a tweeter that picks up and plays to here, right? A three-way set adds a mid-range in the middle, so that woofer can play lower, the tweeter can play higher, and that mid-range can play that area between 350 hertz up to about 5,000 or 6,000. That's the spot that you're hearing the most information. And with that three-way setup, you can put that speaker that's producing most of the information your brain and your earballs want to hear up in a position to where it's unimpeded. It can get straight to your ear holes, right? And all the information that's down in the floor, down at the bottom of the door, getting blocked by your leg and all that stuff, that's all that lower register that your ear is not really interested in anyway. And the tweeters are going to be small and up high. So having little threes or little 2.5s or 3.5s up on the dash and the A pillar is going to give you that sound feel right up here and make it feel like the band is right out in front of you, not down in your doors. So it's all about positioning the bandwidth that your ear holes want to absorb in a spot where they're not being impeded by objects in the vehicle and they can get freely into your ear holes. Okay. That's the best way I can describe it. There's a lot more to it, but that's the quick and dirty version. Up here, yes. You see, locally, we have this is William Bill. We have shows, yes. Locally, we have two other respectable car audio establishments, plus my buddy Carmel's car audio establishment, also a very respectable car audio establishment. There's one more that we don't talk about. He's not respectable, and I won't even do the justice of saying his name. But we have several car audio facilities right here in town, and we have GP Car Audio right outside of Springfield, who Tyler at GP Car Audio puts on shows all the time. So we got Tyler hosting shows, and you got Carmel hosting shows, i.e., we end up with a lot of shows in this area. Yes, it's just because that's why I was saying talk to Sonic Electronics if you're looking for something in Tennessee, because I guarantee you they sponsor shows, and they're going to know where they're going to be. Can't speak on it. I can't speak on Subbox. All the people that I know of that build primarily use Basebox Pro, and I haven't used any of the softwares. I've been around them being used. I had friends using them while we were discussing building, and I was working with them while they were using the software. I haven't actually used it myself, but all the guys I know that build and use software use Basebox Pro. So that's all I can tell you on that. And William Bill, I don't know what that's in reference to, but yeah, baby. A Fuego. Fort Smith, yeah. That's why I said he's up there in that area. But yeah, if you get with him on Facebook, you can get, he'll tell you. What was the word I meant to say? Oh, recommend. I got you. Okay. Oh, crap. That was that chaotic word that did not come out right. I don't even remember what the rest of the question was, but that's funny, dude. Delayed reaction. So, graduated from Ashdown, Arkansas. We played yellow every year. I don't know. Oh, y'all. I'm not sure. Like I said, I grew up in Southeast Arkansas, but that didn't specify a team. I went to school in Marianna, Arkansas, and our team was the Trojans. And my dad and his boys, my two brothers, lived in Benton, and they played a lot of teams up there. But the Marianna Trojans was where I grew up. My school was about, my hometown was about 90 to 95% black. All my girlfriends were black. All my friends were black. All my teachers were black. Everybody was black. I didn't even realize that I wasn't black. I mean, I just fit in with everybody else. So I grew up in a very, very, very dark, a very dark skinned corner of the world. And in fact, whenever I left that area and moved out, the next place I wound up going to was Branson. And that was a culture shock. I felt, man, I was very confused. For those of y'all who've been to Branson, Missouri, yeah, you understand. Very confusing. Fuego. Over 1 million. I got over 1 million miles, safe miles, El Fuego. I think it was somewhere around 1.2 million with zero accidents. I put down a lot of miles. Robert says, I'm 48. I am be 54 this year. A Fuego. I got you topped out by 3 years. Yeah, before I go, you're still a young man. I told you I'll be 54 this year. You and Robert can fight over who's the oldest and dustiest and crustiest. Good times all around. Yeah, our the Mariana Trojans, black and gold was our color. Every year, they always come around and voted. Right, Bobby Burkett, Bobby B, said he's 52 and still catching trains. Every year they come around and voted on what the team colors are going to be, and everybody always voted for black and gold. So William Biddle, we were the Ashtown Panthers, I guess, right by Texarkana. Oh yeah, you're over there on the other side of the state, other side of the South. Uh, Hometown was 60% black. Yeah, we had some good times. Ashdown is by Texarkana, close by Hope. Yeah, I know about Hope, Arkansas. Oh, you probably know. So yeah, you probably know all about the drug trafficking thing that was going on when the Clintons and all and that whole I believe it was that drug that starts with a H and maybe some other drugs that start with different letters getting flown in and dropped and stuff in Hope, Arkansas. Big conspiracy. Folks getting in all kind of trouble. The whole damn city and half the state was bought and paid for, and the Clintons were directly involved in all of that, very deeply entrenched with all of that. Uh, and Hillary was the one that drug them into it. So, yeah, that's some deep stuff. Just look up that stuff I'm talking about, and that's a rabbit hole that'll keep you for a minute. Bobby Burkett said, "Yeah, right. You know about it. You know about the secrets. It don't matter. It's all the same area." Bobby Burkett said, "Black and yellow is kicker colors." Yep, 100%. I ain't all that far from the kicker headquarters. That's the Stillwater, right, Bobby? Stillwater, Oklahoma. The first culture shock was a trip I took from PNW to Texarkana back in '83. PNW. I'm trying to figure out where PNW is. Your acronym isn't good enough. Your abbreviation. Black and white. What's PMW? El Fuego. Pacific Northwest. Okay, I got it. I caught up. So yeah. The Texarkana. Yeah, the funny thing about oh, did he now? So William said Tom Cruise made a movie about it. I can't think of the guy's name that moved to Mena that was doing all the drug trafficking, flying the planes and then supplying the arms to Contras. Yeah. Guys, if you don't know about this, yeah, I figured it out. Thank you. It took me a minute. You got to live in a place with a shorter name. If you don't know about this, Arkansas was a hotbed of a lot of crazy things, and so Hillary was trying to build a power base. She's always been a money hungry and power hungry person, and in the process of doing that, she shook hands with some people that she shouldn't have, and wound up getting drug into this whole thing. And Bill just didn't see it coming. By the time he got it in it over his neck, and it was too late. Hillary was leading the show, and I guarantee you, Hillary is the power behind all of Bill's endeavors. Bill's the face. Hillary was the brains, 100%. And I've met Bill Clinton on multiple occasions. He's a really nice guy, in case you're ever wondering. He's about 9 foot tall. His hands are like this big, and he's a really nice dude. So let's go back here and see what I'm missing. Pacific Midwest. It's just as bad, man. out by the ocean with the crazy people. Everything, everything tastes better fried in bacon grease. Hell yeah. William Biddle, two little boys, yeah, it got killed on the tracks because they were right beside the airport strip. Yep. And everybody pretended like that none of that ever happened, man. It was a whole big, massive conspiracy. Bacon grease, you damn right, man. You know what? The dirtier the grill gets, the better the food tastes. Barry Seal? Fair. I can't remember the name. But yeah, the dirtier the grill gets, the better the food tastes. You don't want to clean it unless you have to. Nice dirty grill is always going to taste better. 69 Basehead. What's up, fella? What's up, Basehead? Now, you guys, until I get to know your YouTube name and associated with your face, I may not recognize you. So if you've met me somewhere, you're gonna have to give me something to remember you by whenever you pop on. Doing good things. I'm doing basehead things. We're talking about drug running and other things that are probably not the best thing to talk about on YouTube, but that's where this conversation went. It's all my fault, you know. So there's that. We're talking about the Clintons and all the crazy stuff they did, and we're just kind of talking about a lot of stuff today. We're having a long conversation about a lot of weird things, and just wherever the breeze blows, because I ain't got no rules ready. And I appreciate you. Who else is popping up? We got any more audio questions today? Because we're pushing that. We're pushing on 2 hours. My legs getting tired. I usually make my runs for about. Oh yeah. I usually make my runs for about 2 hours. I like to go. Getting some trunk under the lifting front bench test night. Damn skipping. I highly recommend that. Whenever I get another battery from Brandon, when I get one of the version 2s, the version 1 is going to probably become a test bench battery because of just how much capacity it has. Even though it's not really built to be a high capacity battery, it's a 20 amp hour battery. It has a lot of capacity. Who is that? Eric. About to cop that flex whip. You damn right. I'm all about the flex whip, baby. And you bought tacos. Eric. Y'all, Eric's buying tacos tonight. Anybody wants a taco, you got to talk to Eric. He's the man. El Fuego, Bobby, everybody's being sweet to me tonight. You got to join the green team, man. Y'all go ahead and join the green team. All you crazy people that are in here right now, in this conversation, going this deep and this off track, you got to join the green team. You should be here all the time because this is life. This is where we live at. See what we got going on here. How to keep my lights from dimming. More battery. Two ways. One is more battery. 2, LED lights. Anything else ain't going to do it. Nothing else is going to do it. Those 2 things. The easiest one, LED lights. Problem solved. But if your headlights are dimming, your amp's also seeing a dip in voltage every time, and more batteries will help that. How does trunk thunder compare to glow voltage S2? That's like saying how does Rockford compare to JL? you're comparing two name brands, not two products. But I would have to say, on paper, if they're comparable chemistries and comparable batteries, they're probably going to have comparable specs. The difference would be in the quality of the equipment, the testing, the quality of the actual cells, and the quality of the assembly. Those are the things that are going to be different. So on paper, they may be similar, but in reality, I would put the Trunk Thunder Lithium final product ahead of the glow voltage stuff, personally. And that's because I know how much care and love goes into what Brandon does. Okay. So he's going to take a similar product, but a better pick of it and do a better job putting it all together. So that's my take on that. And Hitman says, got me 15 feet of that America Green you got. 0 gauge, replacing 4 gauge, new concepts. Well, replacing the 4 gauge with 0 gauge is never a bad idea. And I'm a big fan of it. This is actually a new concepts wire right here. But I got a bunch of that. You know I do. That's what's running behind me right here. You see? Right there. That's America Series. And here's another interesting thing. So this is how the America Series melted. Now, I punched through it with my little plastic deal, but see how the casing is still like a casing? So with the Sundown, went through the same exact torture, and it like burned. You see that? It burned, and this did not burn. It stayed the same kind of material. And I noticed that with both of the GP's wires. This one also went through that same exact treatment. And although I ruptured it by pressing into it and cutting it open, it looked like this at the end of the test. It all looked solid. So it didn't burn. It just got hot and melty. The only wire that I tested, the only car audio wire that I tested that did that was the 2 that I tested from GP. All the rest of them, like they all did this. All the rest of them did that. It burned. And I don't know. I don't understand that either. So, grain of salt. Let's see what we got here. Oh, somebody became, who is this? How can I click on that? New member. William is a member. Y'all welcome William to the green team, baby. I'm not sure who else joined. I am very bad at operating this thing. All right, El Fuego, we're going to get to yours. I got to make sure I ain't missing somebody else. Go on back up. Wow, there's a bunch going on down here. El Fuego says, oh, what's going on? Oh, we're down to 5% battery. We're going to have to wrap this up, guys. El Fuego says, I'm remodeling my Chevy Tracker concepts B-pillar due to the small size of the vehicle. On the concepts, go B-pillar. Yes. 69 said, good deal. What's my favorite brand for subwoofers? Honestly, I like the DeFmont's Apocalypse line. If I'm going to force into a choose, I like DeFmont's. I've had really good luck with them. I have no problem with Kicker, but I just don't have as much experience with them. So if you're asking me my personal favorite, yes. Fuego says, fire Kicker for the win. Yes. Guys, I got to pull off because we are down to 4%, and my device said, screw you guys. He's going home. So if you ain't subscribed yet, please hit that subscription down there. Become a member, Green Team member, and the next little talk we have, you show up in green. and everybody loves you. We all love you anyway, but we'll love you even more if you're green, baby. And of course, be sure to on Tuesday nights to catch Living Loud with Andy. If you don't know about that, just Google Living Loud with Andy, and you'll find his channel. And he does a really, really good show on Tuesday nights. So be sure to catch him too, about 9 o'clock, I think. Bobby B. Thanks, gentlemen. Stay safe, everyone. You guys are awesome. And y'all have a good night. Peace. Once I figure out how to do this, because I'm so bad at this.